All right, welcome to the explainer. Look, if you're building anything with AI right now, you know the language is just exploding. It's changing so fast. So today we're going to cut through all that noise, all the jargon, and build a really solid glossary for any product manager who's working in this space. Let's jump right in. Okay, so let's start with the key role here, the AI product manager. And this isn't just about slapping a new buzzword onto a traditional PM role. It's someone who really needs to have a genuine feel for the technology. This whole AI intuition thing, it's real. You have to understand what the tech can actually do, its quirks, its limitations, especially when you're building something that's literally designed to learn and evolve on its own. And listen, this isn't some niche job for a handful of people at a few big tech companies. The writing's on the wall, and this quote really nails it. The expectation is that pretty soon there just won't be product managers who don't use AI every single day. So yeah, the pressure's on for all of us to get fluent in this new language, and fast.
All right, so let's crack open this new AI playbook. First up, we're going to talk about developing a totally new kind of intuition.
And that intuition starts with meeting the AI models, basically understanding the brain behind the whole operation. So, the star of the show right now is, of course, generative AI, or Gen AI. This is the stuff that has just completely rewritten the rules of what's possible. We're not just talking about machines that can analyze data anymore. We're talking about machines that can create brand new text, images, code, all from the patterns they've picked up from these huge data sets.
So how do these things actually learn? Well, it basically boils down to two main approaches. You've got supervised learning, which is kind of like giving the AI a bunch of flashcards with the answers on the back. For every single input, there's a correct labeled output. But then there's unsupervised learning. This is more like dropping the AI in the middle of a giant, unorganized library and just saying, hey, figure it out. Find the patterns. It has to learn the structure all by itself.
Okay, so a model can learn, but how do we get it to be, useful? And not just useful, but aligned with what we actually want. The first step is often reinforcement learning. Think of it like training a puppy. You give it a digital treat for a good action and a penalty for a bad one. But to really take it to the next level, we use RLHF. That's reinforcement learning from human feedback. This is where real people step in, rating the AI's answers. We're not just teaching it right versus wrong. We're teaching it nuance. What's a good answer versus a great answer? It's all about teaching our preferences. Now, it's super important to get this. Not every model is a giant, all-powerful brain. We've got the big ones, the large language models, or LLMs, think ChatGPT, that are amazing for all sorts of general tasks. But there's also a rising class of small language models, SLMs. These are compact, super efficient, and designed for one specific job. As a PM, this is a huge deal. You're constantly weighing the trade-offs. Do I need the raw power of an LLM, or is the speed, low cost, and better privacy of an SLM that can run right on your phone the smarter play?
Okay, so we've met the brains. The next big question is, how do we actually talk to them? How do we interact with that brain to get what we need? And that brings us to prompt engineering. And I gotta say, this is way, way more than just asking a question. It's a real craft. It's about learning how to phrase things, how to give the right context, how to frame the problem. It's the art of steering the AI to give you not just an answer, but the best possible answer. But this leads to a massive problem, right? The AI's knowledge is basically a snapshot from the past. It's frozen in time. It doesn't know what happened 5 minutes ago, let alone have access to your company's private, up-to-the-minute sales data. So what do? How do you give this incredibly powerful brain access to the live external world?
Well, the answer is a really clever technique called retrieval augmented generation, or RAG for short. The idea is actually pretty simple and elegant. Before the AI even tries to answer you, it goes and retrieves relevant information from an external knowledge source that you provide. And the process is just brilliant. Step 1, retrieve. The system goes out and finds the relevant info it needs, basically grounding itself in facts. Step 2, augment. It then stuffs that newfound information right into your original prompt. It's like giving itself a little cheat sheet. And only then, step 3, generate. It creates an answer, but now it's an answer that's informed by that fresh, up-to-date context. It's a game changer. And the library that makes all this possible? It's a special kind of thing called a vector database. And here's the cool part. It doesn't just search for keywords. It searches for meaning. It understands the relationships between ideas. So you can ask about company travel costs, and it's smart enough to find a document that talks about employee flight expenses, even if the words are totally different.
Okay, so we can talk to the AI and give it knowledge, but the next step is where things get really interesting. What if the AI could actually do things for us? We're moving beyond conversation and into action.
And this is a huge leap. We're going from just responding to actually reasoning. And that's where the idea of an AI agent comes in. Now, this is not just a chatbot. Think of it as an autonomous worker. You give it a big goal, and it breaks that down into steps, figures out which tools or APIs to use for each step, and then it goes and does it. It doesn't just respond, it acts. Now, for this whole world of agents to really work, they all need to be able to talk to each other and to all the different tools out there. We need a standard plug. And that's exactly what the Model Context Protocol, or MCP, is trying to be. You can literally think of it as the USB-C port for AI. One standard connector so any model can plug into any tool, any data source without a fuss.
But of course, with all this amazing new power comes some really big questions. Is it working? Is it safe? This brings us to maybe the most critical part of this whole conversation, the reality check. So, to figure out if our AI is any good, we can't just go with a vibe check. We need hard numbers. Two of the most important are precision and recall. Precision is simple. Of all the times the AI said yes, how often was it actually right? Think of a spam filter. You want high precision because you really don't want it to mistakenly delete an important email. Then there's recall. Of all the yeses it should have found, how many did it actually catch? For something like a medical scan, you want incredibly high recall. You'd rather have a few false alarms than miss a single real case. As a PM, you're always balancing this trade-off.
Then we have to talk about one of the biggest elephants in the room, hallucination. This is when the AI just makes stuff up. And it does it with complete confidence, presenting it as cold, hard fact. This is a massive problem, because if a user can't trust what the AI is saying, the whole product falls apart. It's a fundamental barrier to building trust. And right alongside that is the issue of bias and fairness. Look, these models learn from the internet, from all the stuff humans have ever written. And guess what? That data is packed with our own biases. So if we're not extremely careful, the AI doesn't just learn our biases, it can amplify them, creating really unfair and harmful outcomes. Making these systems fair isn't a one-time fix, it's a constant, ongoing job. So here we are. We have the building blocks, we have the glossary for this new AI-powered future, and it leaves us with one really important question to chew on. We've gone past the point of just asking, what can we build? Now the much harder and more important question is, what should we build? And how do we build it responsibly? Because now that we all speak the language, the real work is just getting started.